What will the future of transport look like? There are so many things in the offing, so many people that know that something brand new is just around the corner. I decided to go to the man who is the Executive Director of Sky Ports. His name is Clem Newton-Brown. Clem, welcome to The Informer.
Thanks, George. Great to be here.
Now, when I've started talking to my other producer about what the future of transport's going to look like down the track, we both were started thinking about the Jetsons. But talking to you just before we started, you don't think that's too fanciful at all?
No, absolutely not. Look, it's definitely happening. Look, I was quite sceptical myself when I got into this, and my involvement was through acting as a consultant for microflight helicopters. And I became aware that Uber was scoping out cities around the world to test their air taxi services. And we became part of the bid to assist Melbourne and Victoria to win that nomination as the third test city outside of Dallas and LA. So in the course of doing that, started learning about what's out there and who's doing what, and it's clear that some of the biggest aviation companies in the world are throwing billions of dollars into this. We've got
so we're talking flying taxis, we're talking cars. Who are the companies? Some of the biggest names involved behind this project?
Sure. There's about 250 aircraft in various stages of development at the moment. The big companies are Boeing, Bell and Airbus.
Wow.
And they've recently had investment through some of the big car companies like Hyundai and Toyota. And some of the more bespoke car manufacturers such as Rolls-Royce and Porsche are also involved. So there's literally billions of dollars going into this. There's aircraft already flying. You can look on YouTube and see prototypes flying. And we're very close to the first aircraft being given commercial approval, which is an aircraft called the Joby, which is an American-based electric vertical takeoff landing aircraft.
Now, if the Joby is at the start now, what part of the project have we reached? Are we A, BB1, C, D? Tell me.
Well, in terms of globally, we're at the stage where there's plenty of aircraft flying, and they're all sort of racing to commercial certification. And nowhere is there any commercial service currently operating. But Uber's doing a good job bringing all the parties together. But Uber aren't the only potential operator of these air taxis. There's which are quite advanced, such as the Volocopter, which has been done demonstration flights over Singapore last December. And there's going to be a lot of different aircraft operators in the market potentially. And with my business, Sky Ports, we're focusing on the landing infrastructure, because the way I see it is, you may have the smartest aircraft that can fly autonomously, but unless it's got somewhere to actually land, then they're useless. So that's the missing piece of the puzzle, which I think the whole world is cottoning on to now, is we need sites to land these aircraft.
So where would you expect them to land, say, in Melbourne? If you had an opportunity to pin a spot, where would we land?
Sure. Well, look, one of the reasons Melbourne was chosen ahead of Sydney is that we've got an existing helipad. So the low-hanging fruit is the existing infrastructure. So if you've got a helipad and you've got a manned air taxi, and ultimately they're going to be unmanned, but initially they'll be manned, then they can just fly in as helicopters do at the moment. But that's not going to provide the density of use that is anticipated by people. So we're going to need lots of these Sky Ports. And the locations, nobody really knows yet where we're going to be able to do these locations. I've got a number of clients who I'm investigating sites, but there's no actual policy out there yet with the government, and that's where I think we are lagging. We need to actually get working on policy around and where Skyports can be installed. So my view is, though, that I think landing on rooftops in the city will be the very last thing that happens a long way down the path. The early sites are likely to be at ground level on city fringe and also regional areas.
Clem Newton-Brown we're talking to, the Executive Director of Sky Ports. He's talking about the future what's coming around the corner when it comes to transport, and he's talking flying cars, taxis, and whole other things. What fascinates me, Clem, I had a thought while you were talking. We're contemplating doing a renovation. Should I be thinking maybe a helipad rather than a rooftop garden?
Well, look, absolutely. Look, and that's a lot of the work that I'm doing at the moment is with property developers. We are partnered with Arup Consulting, and if you're designing a new building that's going to be there for the next 50 or 100 years, absolutely you need to think about whether you're going to be having air taxis landing on the roof, and also drone deliveries as well. So future-proofing buildings for when these things can occur is certainly something people are thinking about. I wouldn't recommend retrofitting yet, but if you're building a new design, there's not a lot of extra cost in incorporating a Skyports facility into the building somewhere.
Now, all this equipment, all this aircraft that you're talking about, you're calling them specifically aircraft. We're talking about flying taxis and things like this. Are they just an aircraft, or are they a car that flies? What are we looking? Or is it a combo of both?
Oh, look, there are certainly some models out there of people who've designed road cars that can then take off. But no, look, the industry is really looking at essentially a small electric helicopters.
Wow.
And they have differing. Most of them aren't designed for being driven on the road as well. But the designs are all sorts of wild permutations of aircraft. It's sort of like Wright Brothers days again, all over again here.
So this isn't science fiction. This is science fact.
Absolutely, yeah. Look, and there's different. Like some of them use jet propulsion. Others use big fans. Others use smaller blades. So it's all over the place. And what all these aircraft designers are doing is trying to get to that spot where the noise signature is low. You've got sufficient power and thrust, and you've got this, capacity to be in the air on the current situation.
What are governments thinking? They must be terrified at the prospect. Occupational health and safety.
Well, our Premier in Victoria is, if you Google Uber Air and Daniel Andrews, you'll find his press releases. So he's actually supportive of this, and certainly Invest Victoria pursued Uber Air to have them choose Melbourne as a test city. That
is incredible. Look,
in terms of
go on.
In terms of the federal authorities, CASA and Air Services obviously need to get their head around this new form of flight, and they are actually seen as very progressive on a global scale, and they're preparing Australia for a new systems of flight whereby these vehicles can operate safely. And remember, there's going to be they are designed to be autonomous in the future, and ultimately they're going to be safer to be autonomous than having pilots and pilot error in them. And you're also going to deal with the drones flying autonomously as well. So there's going to be a whole new system of flight control, which is currently being developed by CASA and Air Services.
Yeah, I can see computing power beyond the scale we have at the moment to get these things not only to take off, but to navigate their way through very complex airspace and land safely. Look, thank you for giving us a sense of what tomorrow is likely to bring. I didn't even imagine it was on the cards. But Clem Newton-Brown, Skyports Australia, we know it's out there and it's happening. We wish you every success.
Thanks, George.